how to be sensory friendly in the area of sound. Typically, sound enters our ear, goes into our brain, and our brain decides what is relevant or not. So for example, we might be sitting in class and all of a sudden a lawnmower starts up outside. If we have typical abilities to process that sound, we will soon accommodate to that sound and just really filter it out and tune it out, and it's really not a problem. But if we are over responsive with hearing and sound, that lawnmower will just keep sounding full volume the whole time. Plus, not only the lawnmower, but that kid next to you tapping the pencil is going to sound like a bass drum. And the person chomping their gum, you're going to hear every chomp. And turning the pages, and the chairs scratching on the floor, and the lights buzzing. All of that is going to be coming in at full volume, and it's very hard to hear what the teacher's saying. That is what over-responsiveness to sound is like. It's that fire hose of information coming in full blast. It's too much, it's overwhelming, and it can be physically painful. If you've ever had a sinus infection and your ears literally hurt because they rattle inside because of a sharp sound or a certain frequency of sound, I think that it might be a little bit of what it feels like to have that hypersensitivity to sound. So it can literally be painful, uncomfortable, irritating, and it can actually cause a fight or flight or freeze mode to kick in. And remember, that's that neurological response that a person cannot help, and that's that flood of neurochemicals that cause either a meltdown, a shutdown, or a completely overwhelmed panic, anxiety, all of those feelings. So remember, these kinds of things are a need and not a want. When a person is having an oversensitivity to sound, it can be very overwhelming and painful. So how can we help? Well, number one, we can of course decrease the volume, make it not so loud. Also be very aware of unexpected noise. That can be very painful for a person. Providing headphones can be such an easy and really economical solution. We can have baskets of these headphones in front of the church sanctuary, in front of the classrooms, so that as people are entering, they can just grab a headphone if they need to. They are not expensive, and they come in adult sizes as well as these cute little kid sizes. We can also have noise canceling headphones. Those are more expensive, but they're able to be set exactly to how a person might need them. We want to keep a consistent volume. Make sure the mics are set so it's not going way up and way down. We want to try to cut down an extraneous noise. For example, being able to put rubber tips on the chairs or oil those squeaky hinges. We might even consider having a quiet section of church that's away from the speakers, away from windows, air vents, doors. Also, we could set up a calm room where someone could go to this room and maybe still be able to even see through a window what's happening in the sanctuary or in the classroom, but maybe they would have a monitor so they could adjust the sound and make it just right for them. We might also consider letting them transition at a different time when it's more quiet and not so crowded and noisy in the hallways. Maybe let them go a little bit early or leave a little late so it's not so loud. We can also warn people if we know a drill is going to happen and a loud siren is going to go off or something like that, and that can really help as well. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, people who are under registering sound need input. They may be craving and starving for that input. Remember, it's like that clogged hose that's barely trickling out any sensory information. So they're not getting enough of those auditory cues in. So they may be seeking out, craving sound, or just completely oblivious to the auditory cues going on around them. People that are having this issue really are helped by directed and focused sound. So for example, they may need to sit somewhere where they're actually closer to the speakers or closer to the pulpit or closer to the teacher so they can pick up all those auditory cues. Also, it can be really helpful if we can focus the attention and maybe say their name before we give directions, so they don't miss out on those auditory cues. Another thing we can do is reinforce auditory information with our other senses. So for example, if they're missing auditory cues, we might also want to provide written directions for them to go along with those auditory directions. Another thing that's really important to know about people that have difficulty processing sound is that both over-responsive and under-responsive may make a lot of their own noise. The reason is if I'm over-responsive to sound and too much sound is coming in, I would rather make my own noise and my own sounds so that I can be in control of that sound. If I'm under-registering sound and noise, I might make a lot of my own noise because I'm craving that auditory information and sound coming in. So both over-responders and under-responders can make a lot of their own noise. So some specific ideas that we might want to incorporate in church are having those baskets of headphones outside the doors, also allowing people to have their own music in their earbuds so that they can control the sound around them coming in and out. Another thing is looking at the bathrooms. A bathroom can be very overwhelming auditorily for people. The very noisy hand dryers and the sensor toilets that go off randomly can be extremely overwhelming for people. So we might want to provide them a separate bathroom that doesn't have that kind of stimulation going on. So good acoustics are also really important. So we want to avoid that echoey sound in the rooms. We can have rugs on the floors, things on the walls that help dampen the sound, and even purchase sound dampeners. I'm Charla, your friendly OT, and I'm so happy to consult with you about your specific ministry needs, your specific ministry events, and helping you to create a sensory-friendly church.